Okay, sorry. I was just setting it up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Environmental Political Coffee House, whatever you want to call it. I've got a busy show, and I was just setting it up on my channel. In between these, you have to get it in to get the thumbnail. I have to be setting it up in between quickly, so it looks all right on EC, on ECH. So today is, well, let me put up, you know what? Let me put up the image file first. I'm still getting used to all this. I have videos and I have image clips, and let's put this up next to me. And okay, there we go. So, no single payer Medicare for all on a dead planet. That's right. On a dead planet, what is it going to matter, right? So that's the title of the show, and I've got some I've got videos and I've got some things. First, I want to show you this shirt somebody sent me. It's really cute. Not cute. I don't think I could wear it out around here. I wrote a little Substack on it, and just a little, post that showed that I talked about. Could I wear it out around here? Mm. All right. So here we go. I got my notes. I got everything ready. I got slides and all kinds of stuff. Now, you know that I support single payer Medicare. Well, single payer, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm talking about. Universal health care, single payer, Medicare for all. I don't want to go back and forth about in semantics. But it isn't going to mean a goddamn thing if we don't have and a lot of people can argue with me and say, well, we're not going to have a livable planet, we're going to 2C, whatever. Listen, we got a fight in us, right? We got the fight in us. Yeah. And so, we can have the best health system in the world, but if and when the collapse happens, it's not going to matter. Not if the planet becomes extinct. The or sentient beings anyway. The planet will be fine, right? Like George Carlin says, the planet will be fine. But think about this. The basic logic with healthcare is that hospitals have to have electricity and supply chains for meds and oxygen, sterile equipment, and staff have to get there, and they can't be refugees themselves. Just think of what Gaza looks like. Seriously. As sick and sad as that is. Look at what's happening in Seattle right now. The flooding. Indonesia. I don't know if you guys have seen what happened in Indonesia, the insane flooding. The world is getting worse. Where we are, and we're going to see a video that's going to show us about the United States. See, we are going to what's called 2C. Let me show you if we've had the warmest year. I didn't bring in that, but I got to learn how to make me. Let's see. How to make. Oh, I see. There we go. 2025 is currently tied with 2023 for the second warmest year. See how we are going up for the warmest year in our Celsius heating, global warming for the entire planet. It's scary, and it isn't going to change anytime soon. And if you look at this one, you can see how we are, where the safe zone is or was, how historically the years, right? And is the Industrial Revolution started and how we've gotten warmer and warmer and warmer. And it says 2C is expected before 2050 under the current policies, which we know with this current administration in the United States and Vladimir, Putin, they're all drill, baby, drill. They're all, we want the minerals. They want all this stuff, but nobody's giving concessions. Hey, we just pirated a tanker in Venezuela, an oil tanker. And what does the orange turd say? We're going to keep the oil. So we're going to go up and up and up. We've got to understand how to deal with this and how we can do this together to to have Medicare for all, but also work and do things to make the climate crisis a little softer landing, because we're going to land somewhere. And it's the climate breakdown is happening. So it's think about all this stuff, and it's a little overwhelming. And I want to talk about, we can't, okay, we can't silo these. And if you're an activist, I mean, I know that this is on this space, and there's a lot of progressives watching this. And a lot of you are activists. There are, and I'm going to go over this towards the end of the show, there's a lot of organizations that are working on both in the United States for Medicare for all and the climate crisis, because it goes hand in hand. Now, heat's a mass killer. We're seeing it already. Heat waves in other countries, we see it. They kill more people in many countries than storms or floods. And it's not stopping, my friends. We really need to pay attention. This is so important. The heat alone, heat stroke, heart attacks, kidney failure from chronic dehydration. It's all about healthcare. Air pollution from everything, burning everything, fossil fuels. These are respiratory, they're cardiovascular, asthma, COPD, heart disease, strokes. These are climate-driven comorbidities as well. They're not just random. Then think about the vector-borne diseases, the mosquitoes and the ticks. They don't care, and the ticks have gotten worse. I got a tick bite last year. They're getting worse as the temperatures warm, and it's drought and malaria, Lyme, West Nile. Who knows what else is going to come? And then there's mental health, because in every part of the country with these now, there's a thing called attribution studies, and the attribution studies can say the correlation between climate change or climate chaos or global warming, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing. It's like Medicare for all. It's semantics. We all know. But what's the attribution? You can't say, well, climate change caused it, but sure can attribute a lot of the changes. So, the fires, the floods, everything that happens to Americans. Now, we could talk about around the world, but we're right now dealing with Medicare for all, which every industrialized nation has but the United States. Wonder why is that, right? But it's mental health. That's another thing. We need mental health resources and support for people that are experiencing what's happening. It is, they need it. They need it. And now they had these clowns in our, I think it was the Senate or was it Congress, that voted today to extend the tax credits for the ACA, which is not the perfect system at all. That didn't pass, of course. So all these Americans now, on top of everything else they're worried about their health care and being able to afford it, which is probably not happening. Not happening. So if you realize how this all ties back to the single payer, you know, it's very important. We've turned our whole atmosphere into a weapon, really, against the human bodies. So we need to do this, and it's not like save the whales versus healthcare or anything. It's all together. It's the same fight. It's the same fight. And I'm bringing you a progressive message here because of being on both channels, on Environmental Coffee House and this space. A lot of, a lot of people really need to understand that if you're going to get out there, which I urge everybody do some kind of activism, don't just sit on your asses and think it's going to get done for you because it isn't. People need help. hmm Yes. So, the atmosphere and overshoot, overshoot, overshoot. We're overshooting the planetary boundaries. We're using resources faster than the planet can make them, which we're not making new fossil fuels, but we certainly are going to take down the Amazon because we have that Nobel Peace Prize whack job who is now on all up and with Trump and saying we have it all here in Brazil. We'll just kill the lungs of the earth. Even more reasons why. Even more. So when you think about all these things that can happen, we've got infrastructure failure also. Like I said in the beginning, think about what Gaza looks like, and a lot of that's man-made war. But the Middle East is experiencing all kinds of correlated climate and environmental problems from this. We have the infrastructures, flooded hospitals, knocked out generators, damaged clinics, supply chains, medicine. I mean, uh, vaccines spoiled, labs offline. These things are all part of this. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to educate you because these organizations that are out there are trying very hard to do something. And people, there's the workplace, the stress. Now we're saying rural hospitals will potentially close because of this buffoon, because of the buffoon in office. And we will have American refugee camps. We already have that. Look at the homeless or houseless. Again, semantics in my world. Sorry. Houseless, people that don't have a place to live. Those are the effects of a globally warming planet. Some of them. So really, we can't not think of Medicare for all and not equate it with physics, because physics is happening, the physics of a warming planet. It really is. So here we go. I just want to really implore you to understand that why these two have to be together, you know? Um, you can't choose. You can't say, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do the later. Okay, we'll deal with climate once we get healthcare taken care of. Bullshit. It can't be like that. It has to be together, together. And there are ways to do it. So I think before I go on, I'm going to show you a clip from my friend at American Resiliency, Dr. Emily Shorning. And I have her here. 10-year clock. Okay, I'm going to add this. We're going to watch this. It's a little long.
Hey folks, this is Emily with American Resiliency.
What this is going to do is show you what's happening in the United States.
I've had a lot of people write and ask me if maybe I could make a simple math, climate risk at a glance. Before, I've always said I can't because I really wasn't at that point of distillation. But I had another request come in October, and I don't know. When I considered it then, I thought maybe I could. Let's check it out. So here we're going to look at this 3-color climate risk map, and we're going to talk about it. So this is looking at 2C climate risks, which is kind of the next step on the road in the climate projections. That doesn't mean we won't see further warming. It just means the 2C is a point we're likely to reach, and we're not there yet. Even 5 years ago, most people would say 2C was likely around 2050. Since the 2023 jump in global temperatures, there's much more concern that we'll see 2C by the early to mid 2030s. So this risk is about 10 years from now, and in the video description, I'll have some primary literature so that you can get more evidence around that changing timeline.
I will put in links. In my
Timeline, of
show
course,
notes.
is one important question to ask if you're trying to understand this figure. Another important question is, what does the red mean? Does it mean I'm going to die within 10 years if I remain in a red location? No. The answer to that question is a solid no. Many areas on this map that are marked in red are quite pleasant today, like Honolulu, Hawaii. The whole island of Oahu is marked in red because it's facing more than one major incoming threat. In this case, sea level rise has unusually strong projected impacts for Oahu, much more serious than most of the other islands in Hawaii. That's on top of shared challenges throughout those islands around wildfire and drought. If a place is marked in red, it means we're looking at serious incoming compounding challenges, making resilience work more difficult. Those risks vary in different red areas. In the northern woods of Minnesota and Wisconsin, there's increasing unfamiliar wildfire risk combined with winter change severe enough to disrupt lifeways. In New Jersey, vulnerability to sea level rise, wildfires, and infrastructure combine to make a triple threat. In the low desert cities of Arizona, drought trends projected alongside an additional 3 months of temperatures above 95, with one of those being an additional month over 105, mean that we're talking about very serious incoming heat, even in the context of a place where people like it hot. If a place on the map is marked in yellow, that means your level of difficulty and resilience building is likely to be more manageable than in red areas. There aren't as many, as novel, or as severe of combined projected threats. If you live in an area marked in yellow and you like it where you live, you're concerned about climate, I see those yellow areas as places where, with resilience work, people should be able to stay in their homes, in their communities. Looking now at the green areas. Are those places where it won't change and everything will be fine? No. There are places with high resilience potential, places with outlooks that have challenges, of course, but also some real strengths and opportunities. For example, those green parts of Iowa. Of course, the year-round climate is projected to shift, but to stay somewhat within the context of a Midwestern character. And projected conditions still look good for corn production, whereas south of that green line, we expect major decreases in conventional staple crop production, a need for agricultural transformation. A lot of the green areas, the water situation doesn't look as challenging as it does in, unfortunately, many parts of the country. Does a green area mean no risk? No, I gotta state it again. And I need to say, this figure doesn't encompass every kind of risk. This is just climate factors like temperature, precipitation, and how those will drive landscape change. I put sea level rise into the mix because it's so climate related, but I didn't work earthquake risk into this figure, which, please note, was not produced through any sophisticated or reproducible scientific method, but rather by me spending several years deep in the guts of this topic, and then an AR community member, a great graphic designer who prefers anonymity, worked with me. It was really cool. He took this best thing I could do, which you can see is quite bad, and worked with me to really help me bring the image out of my head onto the screen here. It was such a cool process. But focusing on risk, if we had earthquake risk on this map, the West Coast would look worse, right? If we had Superfund sites, nuclear sites, that'd change things in the band of green running through Ohio. Let me say it again to make it really clear. This isn't a figure that I generated through a mathematical risk factor analysis. The fine boundaries aren't as clear as I do in my videos. If you're in a borderlands type area and you're like, Oh, what happened to make my situation worse? Probably nothing happened. Probably it's that this map is not very good. It's just a first attempt at an at a glance. You should rely on the information I deliver in the NCA 5 state level videos. The regional cross model overviews are also good sources of detailed information. In both of those categories of videos, I provide sources for each risk factor and show them on the screen, giving you access to more evidence and a greater depth of knowledge.
I'm muted. Sorry. You can okay. I hope you learned something from that. Sorry, I muted myself. I didn't want you to hear me sipping and snurfling. So anyway, here we go. Emily is great. American Resiliency, her channel is excellent for helping you learn where where there are places that could be. Now it's not an exact science, obviously. It's not. But we have to think about this, a sane society. What would a sane society? Well, we guarantee healthcare is a human right, and we decarbonized 20 years ago as fast as humanly possible because both are about protecting life, human, but a lot of it is also protecting sentient beings. You don't even think about that half the time. So when you think about adapting to a lot of these things that are happening and going to happen, you think about free cooling centers, retrofitting homes, tree planting, and health outreach. That's why you cannot have Medicare for all on a dead planet, basically. I think another thing that's going to be needed are clinics in communities to monitor climate and global warming health risks, which are happening now, and the mental health support after disasters. But all these take money, right? And people do need to have, they need to have that assurance that insurance gives them in this kind of economy that we live in. And you got to think about healthcare workers. You know, healthcare workers are like climate workers, or they're going to be, and the frontline people. Think about the first responders. Many are volunteers. They need to have health insurance. They need Medicare for all. They need to be covered in these small communities. Like, for example, where I live, I don't know what's going to happen to those on the ACA. And don't they deserve to have affordable health care? They're on the front lines. So, and then there's going to be all the people that are going to rebuild when these catastrophic events happen. And we're seeing them happening more and more. So it's like, okay, you realize this, right? Don't you see how it all goes together? And we don't need a choice then. We need to do it together. All right. So if a lot of you, Medicare for all is a huge issue for you, but the climate crisis should be too. And that is your issue. And even Bernie Sanders, in some of the speeches that I reviewed for this show, they were a while back, you know, and he was talking about it then. Hello, Matt. Matt's with us. To be gently blunt, learn survival skills and rely less on outside resources. Well, between now and then, or whenever, we still can fight for the things that we want, even if it all looks like we've gone to shit. And that's why I'm going to show you the organizations. Yeah. You want, if they let us have a vote, Back aggressive climate action candidates. Even, even if you don't think it's going to happen, we could try to end the fossil expansion. Now, renewables, we know that's not going to be the answer to everything. It's not, because it's just trading one industrial cluster mess for another in mining and all that. But it's the best we have to try to stop putting carbon in the atmosphere. Whether it's hopium or not, it's things that these things have to happen. And they, we all oppose what's going on. Everybody that's watching here opposes what's going on in the United States. It's tough. But, we have to work on not compartmentalizing, not putting, okay, we're going to be in the one bucket and then everything's in another bucket. No, it has to be in the same bucket. It really does. So I want to talk about a little bit about these organizations, but I have one more video I'm going to show you, which DW put out, which I think will help. I'm trying to educate you, and these resources are pretty good. And so let's watch this one.
Climate news. The planet is on track to log its second hottest year on record
Which I
this
told
year.
you.
That's according to Europe's global warming monitor. New data from the Copernicus Climate Change Service shows that 2025 is currently tied with 2023 after a historic high recorded in 2024, making them the three hottest years ever recorded. The agency's latest report shows the three-year average is on track to exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels for the first time. You'll recall that's the threshold targeted in the 2015 Paris Climate Accord. Well, Samantha Burgess is strategic lead for climate in the Copernicus Climate Change Service, which produced that report. Welcome to DW. So is global warming accelerating, or how do you interpret this new data?
Yes, the trajectory of global warming has increased in the last decade or so, but it's too early to tell whether this is part of a long-term acceleration or a temporary acceleration as part of the long-term warming trend.
Okay, this could be a blip.
It could be a blip, yeah, which is why continued monitoring is always so very important.
But just not in the United States.
Points out that temperatures were above average, especially in northern Canada and the Arctic Ocean, which is a bit worrying. Why there in particular?
Yes, so each month the global average is made up of locations that are warmer than average and locations that are cooler than average. We know that the Arctic is warming at 3 to 4 times the global average rate, so we often see exceptionally high anomalies in the Arctic region.
And we saw a series of extreme weather events last month, especially in Southeast Asia. How closely were those events tied to or linked to climate change?
So each individual event needs a climate attribution to understand the trigger and the impact associated with long-term warming of climate change versus extreme weather and the influence of those two interplaying with each other. What we can say without a specific attribution study, though, is that a warmer atmosphere holds more moisture. It's about 7% more moisture per degree of warming. And a warmer, wetter atmosphere has more potential energy available for storms as well. So there's very likely to be a climate change footprint associated with the catastrophic tropical storms that we saw in Southeast Asia last month.
Okay, so climate change deniers could say that, well, one, those Southeast Asia are floods. Southeast Asia floods regularly anyway, so, and there's no data to specifically tie that event to global warming. And you also talked about these averages, and What you're saying seems to sort of fuel what the climate deniers would say was, well, we don't know enough. This could be a blip. It floods in Southeast Asia anyway. Help us out with that.
Yeah, not at all. That's a misinterpretation of what I'm saying. So extreme events have always happened. We've always had heat waves. We've always had severe storms. What we can say, though, is that heat waves are getting warmer. They're getting more frequent and they're happening over larger areas. Similarly with storms, we're seeing storm tracks changing. So the historical trajectory of storms is changing. The seasonality of when storms and tropical cyclones is happening is also changing. We've always had them, so we can't blame climate change for an individual event, but we need to undertake a scientific study to understand the exact contribution of human-induced climate change.
Which is what I was talking about with the attribution studies. And Copernicus, by the way, is fantastic. And as we lose access to these wonderful data sources in the United States, like all the data that was on the EPA website, these are going to become more and more important.
That influenced any individual event, made it warmer, made more rainfall fall, and made the wind speeds faster than they otherwise would have been. What we can say is our world is better observed than it ever has been, and the scientific evidence is overwhelmingly clear that our climate is changing. It's changing all around the world and impacting everyone. It's because of greenhouse gas emissions and concentrations in the atmosphere, yet we have the solutions available to change this trajectory.
Okay, that's told us. Thank you for that, Samantha. Samantha Burgess from the Copernicus Climate Change Service.
Okay, now I thought that was pretty good. You know, she's not going all alarmist. She's giving a good explanation. You know, we know that the fossil fuel industry doesn't give a shit. We know that all these psychopaths just want to keep going full steam ahead, but I just don't see giving up as an option. And I think the Medicare for all fight is a good one, but you can't, again, I can't express this more, that if you want something good to happen, you have to pair this together. And we actually need a healthcare system for a warming world, and we can do it in the United States, possibly. See, it's just like you feel like all bets are off with this administration. Every day the news is worse. But we really need solar and battery and backup for hospitals. We need clean indoor air filtration. We need flood-resistant construction, and we need heat-resistant infrastructure. It's going to have to happen. Cool, like I said before, cooling centers. The Southwest is sometimes hotter than people that even live in Arizona have ever seen it before. That, you know, that we're used to that kind of heat. And climate and health funding, every single climate bill, if there ever are any again in the United States, should have a health component. And every bill should account for climate projects. Now you say, well, we've got 3 more years of this guy and the damage is so bad and it's so horrible. I'm not giving up. Even if they come take me out for saying what I'm saying or wearing an Antifa shirt or whatever that, it's not Antifa, it's Antifa. But I mean, can't give up. I don't give up. I don't give up. You know why I don't give up? Because of what's happening to our Black and brown brothers and sisters and the indigenous and the poor people, the marginalized communities in this country, because of this administration. Don't they deserve a shot at least humanity? And the workers. This is so important for workers, you know, and the energy workers. They need a guarantee. Everybody needs a guarantee for health care. It's just I don't know, like, think of it this way. And I jotted this down earlier. Like, okay, there's like no universal health care in a permanent emergency. There's no functioning democracy in a world that is really driven by climate chaos. And as we keep going into overshooting our planetary boundaries, the things are going to get worse because of the changing jet stream and the Arctic air going south and the Arctic being warm. And how about this? This is a really important one here. Sea surface temperature in the North Pacific up, up over the years. Up. The hotter the ocean, the worse global warming will get. The worse the ocean heat. If you watch any of my shows with Jim Massa, the ocean is center to all of this. It holds the heat. It holds a lot of heat, and it really, really does create havoc. So, if democracy is your issue, climate is your issue. I mean, really think about it. Survival, you want to survive? Well, then this is your issue. We can't, a lot of people just say, okay, they report on all the bullshit, and then they talk about the climate for 2 seconds in the environment. And it's just so hard for me, who studies this a lot, a lot of the time, the graphs, the research, the different organizations that are putting out information, and to have people just ignore it. And as it gets worse in the United States through this administration, it's up to us. It is up to us to create or try to create the world we want, even if it is 2050. That is really going to be where things start collapsing, because we have already hit 1.6, 1.7 this year. We went back down. And it used to be the whole thing was, okay, well, 1.5 to stay alive. Well, everything's happening faster than previously expected. And that's why I think it's really important to fight for Medicare, for all universal health care, and fight to stop fossil fuel expansion. Even if you just act as if it is not the orange turd administration. We don't have decades. We really don't. The window's closing. And this is really the fight of our lifetime. And the two of them are the fight of our lifetime, because we deserve health care. We really do. We barely have years. And people who understand it, we're sounding the alarm, but yet we're not like alarmists. All of us have that opportunity. All right. So I want to talk about some of the organizations. Now, I have them. I'm just going to read you the names of them, and I'll put all the links into my show notes. I have them all. I'm going to just pull them up. There's one called Physicians for a National Healthcare Program. And a big part of their stuff is, again, saying that single payer and climate adaptation go hand in hand. And so their big thing is that climate, that everything with the healthcare system is going to have to be restructured around climate resilience. Well, we may not have a resilient climate, but we sure should have to adapt to what's coming and what's here already. We do. And so these organizations are out there. And then there's another one, the Healthcare Without Harm. They want sustainable healthcare, because as we go on, are we going to just want to see the healthcare in the United States collapse, or do we want to just work to try to make it a little bit better? And these people are. These people are all the salt of the earth. And this no harm, also is all over the world. They have a common purpose, but I will give you They have this whole thing where they're trying to build a global network at the intersection of human and planetary health. Kudos to all these people. And then there is the Medical Society Consortium for Climate and Health, who are mobilizing health voices for climate action. Your voice can spark climate action, and they have a forum on their website, like I said, on my channel. In the show notes, I usually have pretty extensive show notes, so I will be putting all of this in for links. Get excited, get up, get out. And then there's another one, the Sunrise Movement. You've all heard of them. Well, they also have a component that is, let me see if I can find their component. They talk about creating the good paying union jobs, stopping the climate crisis. They're a little, well, look, I give them credit. They're young people that they want to see something good. And can you imagine? I mean, I can't imagine. There's so many of you that are watching possibly on this space that are younger people that feel like you may have been given this shit show. But every shit show has the people on the other side trying to at least make the shit show a little bit better. National Nurses United, they're a great organization also. National Nurses United and Climate for Health, which is U.S. Climate Health Alliance. Lots of things out there. We Act for Environmental Justice. Help us develop a plan to address environmental justice issues in northern Manhattan and beyond. Well, Manhattan just elected Mamdani. While I don't know how much he's spoken about the climate crisis or the warming issues, New York City is going to get hot, and they're already suffering the repercussions from sea level rise. Because I remember the first year that I was seeing videos of apartments flooding in Brooklyn, in the basement apartments. People were devastated, and it happens now all the time. And of course, there's the Climate Reality Project, which is pretty terrific. They're awesome. They say they believe there's a better future ahead. They're talking about clean energy. So, I don't care if people want to tell me, well, Sandy, we know we're fucked and it's all hopium. It doesn't matter in the long run. What do we want? We want healthcare for all in the United States. How do we get it? We keep working towards it. We keep working with organizations that are trying to do something. I'm trying to inspire people to feel that even if it is a short-term window we're looking at, that it's always worthwhile. Old people and young people will be together soon. The protesters are generational. Yep. Hi, Raza. It's so good to see so many of you here. I'm really happy, And yeah, it's called Inspiration and Empowerment. Don't lose it. The Climate Crisis Club has it. And they know how I feel about the bigger picture. I think the bigger picture is pretty bleak. But does that mean tomorrow I'm going to give up and say, well, fuck it? No, I haven't this far. I don't see how I could. Nope. And there's another one. There's the Indigenous Environmental Network. That's a worthwhile, definitely worthwhile. And then We Act for Environmental Justice. I think I already said, I already talked about theirs. Okay, because I have two lists. I pulled up screens and all that. Then we have all over this country, the Poor People's Campaign, healthcare and climate issues. There's research and advocacy networks. There's the Lancet Countdown on Climate and Health. Harvard has the Chan School of Public Health and Climate and Health Center, Yale Center on Climate Change. And they have a good letter. Union of Concerned Scientists, even Human Rights Watch. Lots of amazing organizations out there to help. And I just implore everybody, because we already know we're getting the PM 2.5. We get this particulate matter from the fires. We have ozone and nitrogen oxides and sulfur dioxide, all this shit. People deserve healthcare for all in this country. I mean, I look at this 3 years coming up. We don't know what's going to happen. We see that, or you watch any of the social media and then say, okay, he's got the president. First of all, it's so clear that he's cranky and he's got some kind of dementia shit going on, and bandages. And I've watched one of these doctors that say he's getting a dementia drug infused, and his ankles, the hip gals call him cankles, whatever. We don't know, but then we don't know who's next either. And we don't know how Americans are going to feel. I think from looking at the data out there and looking at things that are happening, that Americans are starting to get disgusted. I watched a video today that actually in a very Trumpian county, people are standing up against data centers. I don't know if it was in West Virginia or where it was. Hi, Domenico. Hi, Sandy and all. Dom, Gra, future president. A president about saving and lengthening lives and life quality is with you. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. I'm happy, if look, the United States, right? Anybody can run for president. They say, Vermin Supreme ran for president. It's just, if anything, I'm also talking to myself to keep myself motivated in all this. And I don't give a shit what the biggest naysayers have to say. I'm not giving into it. Just like my own physical health. I have my own issues. Everybody does. And here I am, a person, I'm fucked. I have bone issues and autoimmune and whatever. Who knows what is from toxic shit in the environment that caused it, whatever. I don't give up. I'm still pulling myself to make these shows. In fact, I also communicated with someone today about my trip to one of our county meetings to lay out everything about a data center. And I wrote to a very conservative person in my area. But, data centers, what are they going to do? They're going to make people sick too if they take away the water. It's just all of it, right? Mm-mm. No, that's not so easy. You could just move to Canada. I don't think millions of people can just move to Canada, Chris. And do you think Canada, also another thing I read today, that Canadian Border Patrol is setting up more shit. You think they want American refugees? Maybe they want people that can work, in science fields or in academia. But I don't know. I can't say. But I think everybody deserves water and food security even. That goes with healthcare. All these things are part of we love Canada. I fly a goddamn Canadian flag here. Oops, wrong one. Wait a minute. Here it is. I fly a Canadian flag, American flag, and a Mexican flag. Nobody's come over yet, but it's winter and it's been snowing like a mother here. It's really been snowing. So, but I've talked about all these things, and really, one of the things I said before, displacement and migration. You think it's not happening in the United States? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And we're just going to see the hospitals overstretched as a result. But people deserve to have Medicare for all in this country. And this whole fight just, oh yeah, that's right. Alex knows I have the ecology flag. That's right. But that's not up because I don't have enough flagpoles. But you know what I'm saying here? And here's another thing. So what happens? So people are supposed to, because we have employment-based healthcare, and because I was an HR director and I worked in the field every year with open enrollment and all the bullshit um, that happens with that, I always thought it was ridiculous. I never could understand when I was in the profession. Every year I was over benefits for the employees, and every year it got more expensive. Every year we got more and more outsourced. Every year it's split up more. It's become a behemoth. I mean, there's some truth to this whole thing on it's the insurance industries. But then if you go online and you look at comment sections like I do, um I look at comment sections and all these people that are, you know, because the orange turd said, well, we're just going to give people the money to buy healthcare. It's not so simple. That's that's where they're going to buy healthcare from if they're putting the insurance industries down. It's they don't have a fucking clue of what they're doing. That's why it's so important for all of us. That's why it's so important. Whether you think we're fucked or not. It's just not what? I like Midas touch, but I wish they wouldn't say Trump's hand is rotting. It just bruises from needle sticks for IV infusions when you're at a blood thinner. Old people bruise easy anyway. Well, yeah. Well, I think sometimes I do think on both sides of the eye, whoever you're with, people exaggerate in these. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not, because I study this. I'm not exaggerating because I see it happening. So exaggerating would be stupid. People could call me an alarmist, but those are people that are ignorant. I see them in these comment sections, whether they're bots or not, it's still happening. Oh, this is what I voted for, when they see the helicopter taking the Venezuelan ship. This is what I voted for, and let's just forget. And then I actually saw a comment today. Somebody wrote about taking all health care away from the bums. Well, you know what they meant by bums, because Orange Turd sets the tone for the racism to come out, and racism is also tied so much into environmental injustice in the United States. The people that suffer, the indigenous people in Louisiana, I mean, the coasts. You saw that, what Emily's video. My God. So basically, what is the bottom line? The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we grow, the temperatures our bodies can withstand, the diseases our immune systems fight, the homes we live in, the mental stability we rely on, the hospitals we depend on. There is no separating climate change, global warming, overshoot from our health. So the climate is it's the foundation of all public health. It really is. So let's see what you guys are saying. And I'm really glad that a lot of you are here. Soul Life, Susan, I know that you're getting all this also, but Susan's a nurse. And we know this from the doctors online, but they're not going to tell us about him. He's got the best healthcare in the world. He just has to fart the wrong way and he'll be at Walter Reed and then lie. I've had the best MRI. Of course you are. But do you understand? Oh, okay. Heated. Another great independent journalism. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. I know Heated. That's right. There's so much out there, but you have to be a little picky, because there's garbage too. There's a lot of garbage, unfortunately. And then we also have to worry about AI now. We have to worry about all the bots and trolls in these comment sections and on X. And now they're sifting into Blue Sky and Substack. So it is a very, very tough world that we live in. But if you keep your eye on the prize, which is just making life better for people around you, and naturally that's going to make life better for everything we're killing that's going extinct. It's a one day at a time thing. Sometimes it's just one day at a time. Yep. Oh, Raza, I can't put your comment up, but you're funny. Um, remember when COVID wasn't anything to worry about, then Dump got it and he was given experimental something or other that nobody else could get. Yeah, I remember what that was. That was I don't even remember the name of it though. It's terrible. Um, anybody in the chat remember what it was? Wealthy people that got COVID got it. Yeah. What's on an ecology flag? I wish I had the picture flown. It's green stripes, green and white stripes with the 1970 ecology symbol from the 1970s. It's quite nice, actually. It really is. I'll send you a picture, Dale. Okay. No, it wasn't Paxlovid. No, it was not Paxlovid. I got Paxlovid the one time I had COVID. Although on my Facebook memories, it popped up that I had a really bad flu in the beginning of 2019. Who knows? I wonder. It could have been, but I had COVID in 2023. Okay, let's see here. Environmental Justice Foundation, EJF, RIFS Potsdam, Global Landscapes Forum, Eco Dalla Cita, Nonviolent Peace Force, Be Waste Wise, Planet Critical, Jamin Shively channel. There's so many amazing people. Thank you, Global. I'll have a good list that I'll work on. But does anybody have any questions? Did you get you get my drift? It's not something we can just say, Medicare for all. Well, the climate problem. Nope, nope, nope. Can't wait. It can't wait. And like I said, I can go back to this even if we have no chance in removing the carbon. Like some of those carbon capture schemes are bullshit. I like the natural ways much more. But, it doesn't matter. It's so important to think about these things. And yeah, exactly. You can't separate the problems. And I want healthcare. I want Medicare for all so bad in this country. I don't want to see people suffer. I'm dreading what I'm going to see friends and family possibly go through with the ACA crash. They're really going to screw everybody. And I'm not Cassandra's Coffee House. I didn't change it yet. And that's my Friday night show. I have a banger of a show for Friday night. Oh boy. But I'm really happy to be able to be on this space. Maybe on this space, I'm a little bit, well, I don't know, less in the doomosphere because I want to get through to people that it's so important to keep these things front and center. And I know there's so many issues and so many things that need our attention all the time. But if you have a dead planet, what the fuck does it matter if you have Medicare for all? And 2050 seems pretty close. I don't know the answers. I don't have a crystal ball. I say it all the time. I don't have the answers. I can't tell you. I don't like the carbon capture machines. I don't like solar farms. There's a lot of things I don't like. Yeah, I know. While they're taking it away. I mean, it's very distressing. Every day I'm upset about something that has to do with the the public institutions that had all this data. I mean, it's very difficult, but we've got to support each other and we've got to keep this in mind. And again, there are all these wonderful organizations because there's a lot of good people. A lot of people could say, "Oh, humanity sucks." Well, a big part of it does. Sandy, the fact is that people like your neighbors don't care if Trump takes away their health care. They'll vote red anyway. Therefore, no Medicare for all. Well, they might. They might. But does that mean we just give up and roll over? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's sad. Misinformation, disinformation, all of the social media shit, people, all of the Fox television, Fox News. I've been trying to educate someone who just keeps going back to their denial, and a clueless person who has an IQ of 89, but I tried. Can't do it. Yeah. Crystal balls are excellent. Pretty bad for divination. Prefer tarot, but great projectiles. Oh, you're all so wonderful. Yes, it is. It's willful ignorance. I know. I try. And Tommyist, I love you. And I'm not saying I'm ever the optimist, but I am ever the activist. No matter how lousy I feel, there's always something I'm doing. And those of you that know me, no, of course. We have to be realistic. Well, that's what I've been saying. The thread is be realistic about what we can get done, if any. Be realistic. And I love you too. I love you all. Oh, it's time to go. Well, I'm already done. I can't believe this. Well, here we are. No single payer Medicare for all on a dead planet. But I have enjoyed today. And I really hope that you come to my show 9:00 Friday night, where we're going to talk about how I've been feeling like a Cassandra. And you'll learn about the history of being Cassandra in Greek mythology. And we'll have a good night. Trust me. We'll have a good night. You'll learn and you'll understand my feelings, why I wanted to change the channel name to Cassandra's Coffee House, which I probably won't, but it is what it is. Peace out. Thank you for coming. Yes, that's right. Live, love, and laugh. I love that one. Because we're still alive. What is one of my sayings? We ain't dead yet. And neither is the planet. Peace out.